What was that story that you discussed where there was a company that was working with China, and China had bought a large stake in the company? It was about chips and AI.
Okay, I forget the exact name of the company, Jamie, but it's basically called the heist of the century. If you Google like heist of the century, China, semiconductors, I think it was called AML. It was a British semiconductor company. Any American or Western business is required to do business in China has to have a Chinese subsidiary. So essentially what happened is the Chinese subsidiary, I believe, of AML was stealing the technology from within it. And after they were reprimanded for something like this, the CEO of the Chinese subsidiary just said, nope, I'm taking it. He stole all of their IP, created an independent business backed by the Chinese government, and is now spinning up, based on their IP, semiconductors that were originally intellectual property of this British semiconductor company. And the reason that this matters is that is just the tip of the iceberg for IP theft that is happening with respect to China. It's one of the reasons why, if you look at Chinese or American businessmen who do business over there, they fully and readily admit the amount of IP that has just been straight up stolen through their fake legal process of this Chinese subsidiary. But really, it's just a farming operation. There's no such thing as private industry in China. You know, I talk about with TikTok all the time, the CEO, Zhang Zhiming, he actually was forced to pull one of ByteDance's apps from the Chinese App Store and apologize because it was not supporting, quote, socialist principles. He was like, I apologize to this is the CEO of TikTok today, the owner of TikTok. Everything there is totally controlled by the government. They're very savvy and they're very smart. And at this point, they've actually even reached a point where in some cases, they don't even need our IP. In some areas, they are far more superior and advanced than we are. One of the ones that scares the shit out of me is electric vehicle batteries. So the entire EV battery supply chain is connected to China in some way. You've talked about the cobalt and all of that. And one of the things that Siddharth brought up on your show was that it's the Chinese companies that are working with these Congolese gangs. Chinese don't give a shit about labor. I mean, it's not like we give a shit either, so to be fair. But anyway, they're willing to come in and be like, look, we want the cobalt, give it to us. This is actually part of the reason why Elon is in a precarious position. A huge part of the Tesla EV battery supply chain is in China. Even here in the United States, a lot of the new EV battery plants that are being built, it's a Chinese subsidiary and a conglomerate that is behind that. And look, what did we come through with the whole pandemic? If you're going to have critical supplies being manufactured and connected to China in some way, they're always going to put their interest, as any country should, above your own. You need to have some sort of resilience. Like if we get into Taiwan is another example. TSMC, Taiwan semiconductor manufacturer, they are building a plant here in Arizona. They're building, I think it's $100 billion plant, which is great. I'm glad that they are, but it takes a decade to spin those things up. They create 92% of the world's most advanced chips. If we have a conflict in Taiwan, I always talk about this on the show, we are all turning this shit into the government so that they can create missiles and bombs. Like they will literally need to rip the semiconductors and chips out of our cell phones, out of our computers, because we're not going to have anything. Like 92% of the world's most advanced chips, everything goes dark. Like everything is turned over into some sort of ration thing. Chips is the new gold. It is one of the most precarious as an industry for the United States that we remain in. The CHIPS Act was a great step in the right direction that the Biden administration passed, but